Don't make me a hero. I'm not here to become a cult in front of you. Ask me uncomfortable questions which make me nervous. I went on to work with news organizations such as Reuters and Times of India, BBC, and
What, according to you, is the most important quality a young person should develop so that they can become effective speakers?
the day you cease to read, you will fail to be a speaker.
What is one lesson from these conversations that you had that students like us can apply in our everyday life?
One failure after another, I have seen people rising like phoenix from ashes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We, the students of DPS Modern Indian School, extend a warm and respectful welcome to you. I'm Avani of grade 12G, and joining me is my fellow host, Rushikesh of grade 11J. We are also joined by a student photographer, Madeeha from 11K, who will be capturing this special podcast session for us. It is an essentially momentous occasion for our school, as we recently celebrated its 25th Silver Jubilee annual day. We are honored to welcome you, sir, as a distinguished guest at this landmark event and as part of our TEDxYouth at DPS-MIS 2025 celebration. Your remarkable journey as a journalist, podcaster, storyteller, shaping compelling investigative narratives across India and beyond inspires us deeply. We feel privileged to learn from your extensive experience with leading news organizations and your role as a global media voice.
It's truly an honor to have you with us today, sir, in Radio DPS 25.0 FM for this special podcast episode. We are excited to learn from your experiences, your wisdom, and your journey behind the mic and beyond the newsroom. With your permission, we would like to begin the conversation.
Sure, go ahead.
As one of India's most respected podcasters and journalists, what does flip the narrative mean to you in your personal professional journey?
So, I'll tell you what, when I began my career as a journalist 2 decades ago, or little more than that, the only dream and objective which I had was that one day I'll be able to become a footloose journalist with a backpack, with a tripod in my hand, with a camera in my hand, where I can travel from one far corner of Anantnag in Kashmir to Trivandrum in Kerala, one far corner of California to the far corner of Milan in Italy, and one far corner of Bahrain to one far corner of Qatar today, like in Doha. I began my career as a print journalist. I went on to work with top news organizations such as Reuters and Times of India, BBC, and many more such prominent organizations. But what connects me today to journalism and what connects me to the masses is the fact and my ability to pick up the stories of breadwinners, of fighters, of change makers, drivers of change. And when you say flip the narrative, this is what flip the narrative means to me, that my organization's motto is called "What TV doesn't, print can't, we deliver," which quintessentially means whatever you can't watch on television, whatever you can't read in newspapers, you will find those stories of millions of such people who are waiting to change the world with their ideas, with their body of work, whether it is a small actor who has come from far small tiny corner Hindi heartland of Uttar Pradesh, such as Nawazuddin Siddiqui, from small roles to building a bungalow in the heart of Bombay. Nawazuddin has changed the landscape of our country. A Boston medical professor who in the 70s almost lost his eyesight, today launching and writing papers on what is commonly called as a fatty liver disease. Such people have inspired me and their journeys, not just the business tycoons, not just the top politicians. If I've interviewed Prime Minister Modi to Donald Trump to Elon Musk, they don't give me satisfaction alone. My journey doesn't stop there. What keeps me going when you say flip the narrative, narrative is this: the narrative of a journalist has to be written, the tales have to be recounted from those corners of the world where the mainstream media cannot reach, where you won't find the doyens of television industry not reaching there, but you will find Rohan Dua reaching at that corner and reporting proudly by carrying the same sets of equipments that you are today planted with. That is the wireless sets, cameras, tripods, a reporter's diary, lights, and a bit of my own narrative. That's what has flipped the narrative.
That was a truly inspired and dedicated journey that you have right there. And so another question that I have is that did you become a journalist out of true personal passion, or was it the experiences that you had that led you to this profession?
So, I always had the trappings of a voracious reader. When I was a kid, I used to read so much, a habit which I picked up from my father, a habit which I picked up from my peers, a habit which I picked up from my grandfathers as a great listener. And I felt that there was a yawning gap between a child and a good storyteller in this country, in our country where I grew up. So I picked up definitely sciences because I thought that in at some stage you needed strong academic rigor and strong academic background to do things which uh, maybe you could not have done with literature. But I discovered that my first love was always literature. So from P.G. Wodehouse to Sigmund Freud, from Ayn Rand to modern day Kafka's and modern day literature heroes, I kept drawing towards literature, and that love was unbridled. I developed fondness for literature so much that probably even at night I would be writing things about which I would be seeing as a kid around myself, and then that hobby slowly became so strong, so passionate with me that I thought, let's make a profession out of it. And when I decided to make a profession out of it, then there was no going back. I said to myself, being the only child of my parents, that enough is enough. I've pilfered enough chocolates at night. I've gone watched films with peers, enough of it. But there's a time to find a disciplined approach towards writing, and that writing has to be in the form of finding your heroes, finding those heroes which people do not worship, and making them heroes. So there's an old saying in journalism which I find and which I coined: we find them, we create them, we destroy them. We find our heroes, we create them, and we often destroy them. If we don't find them, then they are not doing a good job, which means you would find me as a journalist speaking at the top of my voice where I find there is corruption, where I find there is briberies, where I find there is graft, where I find that people have misused their authorities. You would find me speaking for those voices who have no voices. And that is one yearning which was inside me because of my upbringing. So sitting in the lap of my grandmother or mother, I learned things which all of us do because of our beliefs and the culture which we have, which is humility, modesty, and finding the righteousness.
Thank you so for sharing your passions and your insights. Now, we as students, we're still learning the art of communication. What, according to you, is the most important quality a young person should develop so that they can become effective speakers?
You see, if you have to become effective speaker, I always persist, read. Have an esoteric taste in literature, wide range. If you are fond of reading, or if you are not fond of reading, You must evolve your reading habits in such a way that if one day you're reading about fiction, the other day you must read non-fiction books as well. The day you cease to read, you'll fail to be a speaker. A wide range of taste means if one day you are reading, let's say, Pablo Neruda, a great poet, the other day you must spend time reading about Mother Teresa. The third day you must be reading about uh, autobiographies and biographies as well. Fourth day you must find your taste reading about the news stories around you. It's not about reading them on mobile phones. It's not reading about just holding paperback books or hardback books. It's about your passion to know about those stories, the feisty tales through these books, whatever suits your palate in terms of literature taste that you want to evolve. I always used to tell even the young reporters who would work with me, read Washington Post, read The Economists, read the BBCs, watch the CNNs. The habit must be disciplined and you must be persistent about that habit. Take 2 hours every day to read things which are not close to you and read things which are also close to you.
That was a truly helpful advice. I think everyone in this room can actually use that. That was very helpful. So, you have interviewed countless personalities, global leaders, celebrities. What is one lesson from these conversations that you had that students like us can apply in our everyday lives?
So, what I learned from these people is that they never fail to persevere. Perseverance, they sweat like mad, they sweat and toil hard. They don't get afraid of failures. One failure after another, I have seen people rising like a phoenix from ashes. When you rise like a phoenix from ashes, you defy every odd, you defy the principles of the cosmic universe, and you bring all the positive energy to yourself. These people have taught me how to fight against adversities. You have seen a couple of interviews which I shared yesterday. All of them are very dignified people. Some of them are super rich, super billionaires, but they have not reached where they are without persevering, without losing their sleep, without not without losing their sleep and not without doing the things which they wanted to do. Some would wake at the crack of the dawn at 5 a.m. and start working on their coding and software writings. Some would be working in the physics labs and chemistry labs to develop the drug companies which they have found there. Some of them, big sports heroes, lost medals one after another at big events, but came back so strongly because they persisted. Perseverance is what I learned from them. There's no replacement for hard work, no replacement for labor. And that's what has inspired me from their journeys. Perseverance.
Thank you for your motivational insights, sir. So, young people today, they're surrounded by rapid information. How can we flip the narrative by choosing meaningful conversation over noise?
So I would say your fathers or your ancestors did not have ChatGPT and Google. They still are here in Qatar without ChatGPT and without Google. If they can reach without ChatGPT and without Google to this country and build careers for you, so can you as well. Which means don't depend on things which make things easier for you. Find those things which are difficult for you, overcome those difficulties. That's the only way to reach where you are. So don't depend too much on things which make your lives very easy. Find your challenges, whichever thing you want to do. But like I said, read a lot. Your exposure in a different country as a part of the expat community gives you that ability to rub shoulders with different cultures. Don't be afraid to call an Emirati or Arab or a Qatari for a cup of coffee and engage with him in a conversation. I was coming a while back with one of the school staff. He did not know what the headgear is called. But I, as a journalist, know because I've lived in so many countries. Be inquisitive. Inquisitiveness is the hallmark of any good, successful person, whether it is Bill Gates. Bill Gates can go to Nagpur's land and find a tapriwala and drink tea with him because he wants to know why an Indian tapriwala, chaiwala has become a super billionaire sitting from the quarters of Nagpur. Sam Altman today has made ChatGPT, which is making lives easier for you, but he wouldn't have done unless he realized that this is what all of us wanted, right? So don't look for things which are a cakewalk for you. The old saying says, the proverbial saying says that life is a bed of roses. It doesn't have to be a bed of roses. It has to be a bed of thorns. If you don't learn how to walk on thorns, you won't welcome the roses. So my suggestion to you guys is, or to everyone, youngster who wants to walk in the footsteps of successful people, find your moorings, give yourself a deadline. If the deadline fails, give another deadline. Doesn't matter. There will be a third deadline, there will be a fourth deadline where you will cross the milestone and tell yourself proudly that, look, this is where I have come.
That was truly insightful, sir. So sometimes students hesitate to express their opinion, and especially being a journalist and podcaster, you've shown such candor to all of us. What advice would you give to teenagers to help them speak confidently and express their opinions freely?
Never have any inhibition. Whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to say, opine, but don't be hurtful. Don't be insightful. Never say things which incite or simmer discontentment in the civil society. Never tell someone's religion is more important than his beliefs. Never demean someone, but call spade a spade. No matter which quarter of the society, which pyramid of the society you come from the top of it or from the bottom of it. Don't hesitate to question the authorities if you want to become a journalist. Wear your emotions on your sleeves, wear your emotions in your heart, but speak what your mind says. Okay? Which means your emotions are inside you, which build your questions, but when you speak, you don't speak with those emotions, you speak with the questions that come out of those emotions. There has to be a balance, there has to be wisdom, there has to be poise, there has to be a sense of responsibility, and yet there has to be a sense of accountability where you want to fist the mighty, powerful, fix the responsibility on him.
Thank you for your advice, sir. Now, as a podcaster, how do you prepare yourself before speaking to a distinguished guest? What preparation habits can students adopt for school presentations or interviews?
So when we do podcasts, we generally spend a lot of time researching. We ensure that people are committed to finding as many flaws in the person as much they are as a fanboys of the Amir Khans or the Shah Rukhs or the Modis or the Trumps. So we don't. When we go there, we definitely go there as their fanboys, but we also go there as critics. So when you have to do a podcast with someone, don't ask me questions which make my lives easier. Don't make me a hero. I'm not here to become a cult in front of you. Ask me uncomfortable questions which make me nervous, which make me iffy, which put me in a position where I can struggle to answer, but yet that answer is very important because as a taxpayer, you want my questions, my answers to be told to the public. So when you do your research in a way which is constructive for you, destructive for the opponent.
Thank you, sir. That was truly helpful. And another question. Your career has taken you across many countries, many places. How has this exposure helped you shape your understanding of communication and storytelling?
So, I've traveled almost every far corner of the world as a global journalist, and I certainly feel when you travel a lot, there's one sense of gratification which you have inside your heart that you have picked up so many different cultures that make you so enriching a person that you are that when you go back home, you can tell yourself that without even experiencing their lifestyle, you have inherited so much that you want to actually live their lives and you live those cultures' lives vicariously. When I say vicariously, it means today I may be in Qatar. Before that, I was in Poland and Warsaw, and before that, I was in Mexico and in the US. Those cultures have taught me on how people earn their livelihood, on how people outsmart each other to reach the ladder of success, and how they yet are bonded towards one or the other thing, which could be a materialistic desire or which could be the family bond, which is true, let's say, in your case as well. Let's say when your ancestors and fathers or mothers or parents came to this part of the country, they were driven by challenges, they were driven by desires. But when they came here and settled, they definitely also wanted to educate you guys as well as the prestigious schools. So when I say bonded, we all have our desires, but we also have our outcome of those desires as well. So what your question is that when I travel to these countries, I come back definitely much more gratified, a formidable person who can recount the tales which I'm recounting to you. And that is the sense of great satisfaction which I travel with. That I have inherited, I have absorbed, and I have got inspired by so many cultures that today I can talk about their food habits to their dietary habits to even as basic a habit when they go for a shower to when they dress themselves to as rudimentary a habit why some of them love to drive only on the oceanic roads to those people who only drive today two-wheelers in some parts of Thailand and they have never seen cars. These cultures have exposed me to such weird ideas, to such wacky ideas at times, where I have not restricted myself to just being a travel journalist. I have actually become so sincere in writing about them that my writings have changed their perception too, on why they should see the world through a different prism. So when I went to Boston recently, where I come from, at the moment where I'm coming from, I told some of the medical doctors there that they are big doctors, but there was some of them were smoking cigars. So when I told them about that, being a doctor, it doesn't send a positive signal. 3 weeks later, they rang me up and they told me they have quit cigars. So you have to be agents of change. And that's what I have become, an agent of a change by being an agent of journalism.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable thoughts, experiences, and guidance with us. Your words have broadened our understanding of communication, storytelling, and inspiring us to think deeply, speak with purpose, and engage with the world more thoughtfully. It has truly been a privilege for us, the students of DPS Modern Indian School, to host this conversation with you.
Thank you. It was equally a privilege for me as well to be here, and I'm sure that this institution, for the 25 years in its running, will continue to be a place to get more such students who come here as part of the expat community, and also those people in future who may be from other countries may become part of this school as well, to take the values, to take the motivation which your fathers, which the faculty here has put in there. And it'll be a privilege for me also to keep coming back here to share insights with all of you.
So your insights have encouraged us to communicate with clarity, confidence, and conviction. We wish you continued success in all your future endeavors, and we look forward to learning more from your inspiring work in the years ahead. So, on behalf of DPS Modern Indian School, this is Radio 25.0 FM, signing off from today's very special podcast with immense gratitude. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, sir.